Thank you for Patreon now for donating to the Patreon. Hey guys, it's Vandy. Back in another Card Fight Vanguard deck for Frostbase. You ready to like, comment, subscribe, let's go and start, shall we? This time we are covering Spike Brothers, Juggernaut, Maximum. So we recently got Steam Maidens, and when we saw Uluru, or at least when I saw Uluru, I thought we were gonna just, how they're gonna convert G-Guards, they're just gonna convert them with units that have shield. What they did with Juggernaut Maximum, they just took a 180 on that statement and was like, fuck it, let's make this thing a main grade 3. And Great Scott, is that thing powerful? And I'm not just saying that as in I've looked at it and I think it's going to be powerful in theory. No, I looked at it, built a deck on it, fought my friend with it, and then it kicked his ass. Yeah, we have a thing called Football Death Team in Spike Brothers. This is Football Death Team V2, or as I say, everything hits like a train. So, yeah, let's go ahead and get this deck started, and you can see what I mean by everything hits like a train. Then we have, so first of our starter will be Mecha Trainer, so grade 0 boost, 10k shield, 6k base. Auto is wrote upon, draw a card, then if you opponent's Vanguard to grade 1, we're going to get a quick show ticket to your hand. Standard starter, nothing special about it. Basically, if you went second, you and your opponent's not grade locked, then you just get a free draw on a quick show, and that quick show can be used for discard fodder, it can be used for 5k shields, and you just get a draw out of it. So all around, it's pretty nice. If my memory serves correctly, despite the fact I literally used this deck last night, because we just got it revealed yesterday and I used it last night, I don't think there's anything in this deck outside of one card that can discard. So that pretty much is a 5k shield for free. So all around, Mecha Trainer is a pretty nice starter. I mean, you can pick any starter, but we all know Mecha Trainer is like the best starter hands down for Spikes. So one of Mecha Trainer. Trigger lineup: 8 crits, 4 Silence Jokers, 4 Sonic Breaker, 4 Draw PG and Cheer Girl Marilyn, grade 0 boost, 0 shield, 5k base, draw trigger, get 2 sound, 4 signals in your deck, and auto guard when placed. Discard one of your units cannot be hit on the battle. So, you know, PG, you know, it's a draw PG. You get hand cards when you use it. If you draft check it, that is, or damage check it. It's pretty nice to actually damage check or draft check. Even if you're losing out a PG on it, for the damage check, you're getting another hand card, so it doesn't really matter. So, the PG's nice. You can run the 12 crit. Here's my thing though, when I played this deck yesterday for the first time, well for the first few times, I didn't trigger sack once until the very end, and I won literally every single game. You do not need triggers for this deck to work. I mean, obviously you have to run triggers, but what I'm saying is, even if you don't sack triggers, you can still win like hell, because this deck can get the numbers without them. The triggers at this point are kind of more of a detriment than a plus. Not saying that I don't want them. And then we have the heal trigger and Cheer Girl Tiara, grade 0 boost, 20k shield, 5k base. I would have put the joke heal in here, but I want people to actually watch this video. So, the joke heal is not here. If you're wondering why I'm not running Heal Guardians, shield value. That's the sole reason. Shield value is like, it's not super important in this deck, especially because like Juggernaut Maximum fixes it, but you know, you want to get as max shield as physically possible, and to be fair, you don't want to stop them from like putting you to 4 damage early, because that's not going to stop what you're about to do to them. I promise you that much. So, you know, Cheer Girl Tiara is the preferred heal for me. If you want to run the Heal Guardian, you can, but I just prefer not to because they're detrimental to my playstyle. So our trigger lineup is 4 draws, 4 heals, 8 crits. Grade 1 time, 3 copies of Machine Gun Gloria. She was not useful in Dudley's, but she is somehow broken in this deck. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base, auto when it's retired from guard circle, counterblast 1 call to an open rear guard circle. You want to know why I say she's broken? There are 3 cards in this deck that cost counterblast. She's one of them. So you can always use that skill. Your guard and your call. One of the major problems with this deck is that if by some miracle they survive your held turn, you're going to have no board. Machine Gun Gloria fixes that because you can use her to defend yourself as a 15k shield thanks to Juggernaut Maximum, and you can call her down with one of the few counterblasts you still have left because you don't use them. So that's pretty nice for Gloria. And then auto rear at the end of the battle that she boosted a rear guard, put 2 rear guards in the same column as it to the bottom of the deck and draw a card. So, you know, she herself goes to bottom in the other unit, and you get to plus, and that's really good, especially with Juggernaut Maximum, like I keep saying. He'll nuke your board, or like kind of nuke your board at the end of the turn. So since you're gonna lose them anyways, you might as well send them to bottom on your own accord and then still get a plus out of it. All around, Gloria is a really nice card, helps spam the board, only costs a counterblast, which is very easy to come by in this deck, and not to mention she can plus you for something you're gonna lose out on anyways. So all around, Gloria is an amazing card for this deck, and I love her, so 3 of. Then we have 4 copies of Wonder Boy, grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto rear when plays, put a non-grade 1 from your draw zone to bottom, and this unit gets plus 5 for the turn. Okay, pretty easy, pretty cool. You know, easy +5, and you get to send heals, you get to send grade 3s, you get to send grade 2s, basically anything that isn't a grade 1. And then back to deck, and you get +5. And then auto rear at the beginning of your main phase, shove to soul, shift after 1 Wonder Boy, call to rear guard, shuffle your deck. I jokingly said before that, like, every good card in Spike Brothers, when we got Reckless Express revealed, I jokingly said that every card in Spike Brothers that sends itself to soul and gets another copy in V is, like, a really good card. Little did I know that we were going to get Juggernaut Maximum, and little did I know how much truth that he would pull to that statement. I tell you what, the amount of soul you can get in this deck is not bullshit, but it's really good. And weirdly enough, Wonder Boy is the worst card in this deck. Believe it or not, as good as Wonder Boy is, he, in my opinion, is the worst card in this deck. Solely because he is the one that has gone off the least. Like, not the second skill, but the first skill. I rarely use it because I don't have drop zone cards to abuse because my opponent can't keep up with me. So, 4 of Wonder Boy, he's still good. He is good. He's just somehow been the most useless card so far. But I do think he genuinely has potential in this deck. I just have to get more cards and drop. But yeah, easy 5k, send himself to soul. Basically, anything that can send himself to soul, consider it because you're definitely going to need it for soul blasting. So 4 of Wonder Boy. And then we have 4 copies of Reckless Express. This is your best grade 1. Granted, it's the only one with the Vanguard skill, so you kind of want to ride this if you see it. Grade 1 boost, 10k shield, 8k base. Auto, if your Vanguard, if it was on Van when it's placed, this cost becomes Soul Blast 1. When it's placed on Van or rear, Counter Blast 1, or once more if it was on Van, Soul Blast 1. Look at top 7, choose up to 1 normally from them, called to rear guard as rest, and shuffle your deck. I think if I remember correctly before, I said that if I would run Reckless, that skill is not good, I believe is what I said before, and that if I did run him, I'd run him at a 2 over 3 of. Little did I know how wrong I would be, and I'll explain that why in a second. But anyways, this other skill is the standard one for everything in this deck, more or less. Auto rear at the beginning of your main phase, shove it to soul, shift after 1 Reckless Express, call to rear guard, shuffle your deck. How is this good, you may ask? Okay, yeah, you call the rear guard as rest. That's fine. Maximum can restand the column. So just put it behind wherever you want. And not to mention, if you see Agile Fullback from this, you're just setting up for more bullshit and, like, all this stuff. And not to mention that if you ride this early, if you do an early rush like I did to my opponent, God, they will hate you. Because I rode this, I wrote this, Soul Blast 1, I think I got an Agile Fullback, I had set up for next turn, he literally scooped on my grade 2 turn because he knew what was coming the following turn. Literally the second he failed to kill me on his grade 3, he knew, yeah, fuck this shit, I'm out, because he was already at 4 damage. So, you know, Reckless Express can do board setup because I had 4 rear guards on grade 1 turn. 4 rear guards on grade 1 turn. This thing's good. It's good. It provides setup. Maximum fixes the one problem of calling the unit as rest, and he can call himself out constantly. And he sends himself to soul. 4 of Reckless Express, there's no reason not to run him at 4 of in this deck. I know for sure, because he was so helpful last night. And then we have 3 copies of what I'm classifying as card that was a tech, because I didn't know what to put here. 3 copies of Power Back Ronaldo. Grade 2, Intercept 5k shield, 10k base. I tell you what, I was trying to look for another card that had, you know, this little second skill where just shove it to soul and call unit, but yeah, there wasn't anything I could find that was another grade 2. That wasn't Bracky or things I already had. So anyways, Counter Blast 1, shove a Handguard soul. Look at the top number, like the same number of cards on top of your deck as the Vanguard's grade. Call it to 3 cards from them to rear and put the rest on the bottom. Either way, that's still good. Even if he was here as a tech, that's still good, because he's my only one that has a Vanguard skill, and yet for some reason he's the one I run at the least in terms of my grade 2 lineup. But, you know, it's nice. He's one of the only other 2 cards that counterblast. In fact, these are the 3 cards that counterblast. Gloria, Reckless Express, and Ronaldo over here. So, you know, you get to basically get a board. It's easy. He triggers all of your on-place effects, so you can make more of a board with this one. You can send something back with this one. Bracky gets an immediate +10. Maximum gets a +10. God knows where Skydiver is on this. And Agile Fullback, ride this at grade 2, your opponent's screwed. I mean, they're not screwed, but you're like setting up for everything that hits like a train because your columns are swinging for 20 each. So, yeah, and you're probably getting 4 attacks that turn, and that's not going to be fun for them. So, 3 of Ronaldo. He's a good grade 2. He gets you field. He gets you possible numbers depending on what your top 2 cards are if you ride him. So, all around, decent card. I like him. 3 of. And now 4 of things that I could actually shove into this deck. Agile Fullback. I remember I hated using him in Dudley's. I think my Dudley deck was just wrong because Gloria and Agile Fullback just didn't feel like they fit in here. But in this deck, no, they feel like they fit perfectly. They feel like a welcomed part of the family. Grade 2, Intercept 5k shield, 10k base. This thing is dumb in this deck, by the way. Auto when it's placed on back or rear guard circle, regardless of his abilities or not, until end of turn it can attack from back row. Okay, that doesn't do much against a grade 3 unless you show a force gift on this, but that's good. And then if it was placed by a card's ability, it gets plus 10. How many cards in the deck placed by abilities? This. Actually, no, it doesn't. Sorry, never mind. Only 2 do it. But how often you see this from those abilities, I tell you, is fucking insane. I saw a copy of this on Ronaldo. I had 4 attacks on my grade 2 turn. That's why my opponent scooped the following turn, because he couldn't keep up. And Reckless Express, you know, he does set up for the next one. And then standard ability at the start of your main phase, suffer to soul, get another Agile Fullback from your deck to rare. So basically, call it to back row center. It's a 20k swinger. So you have 4 attacks with a force deck. And you can do this all while your opponent's at grade 2. This is why I feel bad for anyone who has to fight this deck. This is just beat the opponent into the ground and don't let them stand back up. 4 of fullback. This thing is good. It's stupid in this deck, and there's no reason not to run out of 4 of. Then we have 4 copies of High Speed Bracky. You know, I know I said earlier you're going to need it for Soul Blast, and yet only 1 card in this deck actually Soul Blast, but you're still going to need it, so just keep my advice. Anyways, High Speed Bracky is a grade 2 with Intercept on 5k shield, 10k base. Auto rear when placed by any means, whenever, he gets plus 10 for the turn. So just by being placed from hand, he's a 20k. Just call 2 Brackies on your grade 2 turn. You got a rush board. 2 of them are at 20. Your Vanguard's at 10. And if you rode Ronaldo, you probably have an Agile Fullback in the back row. Maybe, or at least if you had my bullshit luck from last night. Which means you're getting 4 attacks and 3 of them are swinging for 20. Without boosters. Once more. Everything hits like a train in this deck. And then auto rear at the beginning of your main phase, shove Bracky to soul, search your deck for a Bracky, call to and shuffle your deck. The only downside to this deck that I have witnessed so far is just you will run out of units quickly, but even then, they have to live long enough for that to make a difference. So, 4 copies of Bracky, you know, instant wipe out of hand, probably one of the best cards in this deck just because he gets a free 10k, regardless of how he's placed. No offense, Agile Fullback, you're still good. You know, 4 copies of Bracky, just a good card. On to our grade 3s. Guess who also has the ability to shove himself to soul during the main phase? You won't believe it. Half my grade 3s do. So Skydiver is a grade 3 with 200 force gift, 13k base. Auto, when he's placed on van or rear, choose to 2 norm units from your drop zone, put them to bottom, and for each card put by this effect, he gets plus 5 for the turn. Okay, just like Wonder Boy, I haven't been able to use him yet because Bracky, Agile Fullback, hard, and Reckless Express hard carried those matches. But like, even then, I still could have used Skydivers. Not that I didn't have him, and same with Wonder Boy. Actually, Wonder Boy was helpful just because he could boost. But like, I had Skydiver, I just couldn't use him because I didn't have shit in drop zone because I killed them mostly on my first grade 3 turn, and then 1 or 2 times I killed them on my second grade 3 turn. So anyways, Skydiver, you know, easy card, you know, sends 2 normal units back. Unfortunately, unlike Wonder Boy, he can only send normal units, but still good because he prevents you from decking out. You can Soul Blast the things that are sending themselves to Soul to get more of them back so you don't run out of options. So yeah, make your opponent suffer more so they have to watch out for this thing if they're, so that, you know, you can't keep abusing stuff like Bracky and Fullback over here. And then anyways, his other skills, auto rear at the start of your main phase, shove him to Soul, get a Skydiver. So, you know, standard skills, just a good card all around. You get deck cards back, more power because yes, that's a requirement in this deck for some reason, and get your Soul. All around, nice card, good ability, 3 of. And next up we have Juggernaut Maximum. He's a grade 3 with Twin Drive Force Gift, 13k base. Guess what his second skill is, people? Bet you can't, because like half our deck definitely doesn't have the same skill. Auto rear when at the beginning of your main phase, show him to Soul, get another Maximum. Why not? Fuck it. Who cares? And standard, when he's placed, auto van or rear, gets plus 10 for the turn. So the van part of that is not going to make much of a difference, especially when you're sitting on this fucker over here, which we'll get to in a second. But, yeah. The 10k is still good, because that makes everything at least a 15k drop, unless they have triggers. So, that's just a good ability. It's a free 10k, show him Total Soul. Hell, I remember a game that, I don't remember who was it, if it was either me or my opponent that did this, but someone was on a Ronaldo, when one of us was at grade 1, and then rode for Ronaldo, skill, top 2 were both maximums, called them, both of them got plus 10, called a Wonder Boy, shoved something to bottom, Wonder Boy got plus 5, and they called it behind Van, so everything was swinging for 23 to a grade 1 Vanguard, so everything was a 20k drop. Granted, they were at 0 damage, but like, that's just an instant fuck you, I'm taking all of this shit. So, yeah, Juggernaut Maximum is good. Forces out numbers, aha, get the joke, and it's just all around stupid. It's literally defensive tackle. I don't know where the hell they got that from. This is not defensive tackle. This is just a breakthrough. So 4 copies of Juggernaut Maximum because he forces out numbers. And then we move on to our last unit, our main grade 3, which we thought was going to be a defensive card like Uluru because Uluru was a G-Guard, but they took a whole 180 on that statement and turned this into one of the better main Grade 3 Vanguards I've ever seen. Juggernaut Maximum. And he brings a whole new term to the phrase maximum. Grade 3, Twin Drive, Force Gift, 13k base. Auto Van at the start of either player's main phase. If your opponent's Vanguard's a Grade 3 or greater, until end of turn, this unit gets continuous Vanguard during your turn. Sorry, it says during this turn. During this turn, your units. Not all units, just your units. That's a typo. It is all your units, not the opponent's units included. Get plus 5k power and 5k shield. So if you manage to call rear guards during this turn, your units get plus 5, okay? But then also, well, let's think about the defensive part. Yeah, your units would get plus 5. But then, your shield would get plus 5. So all of your grade 3s are 5k shields, all your grade 2s are 10k shields, all your grade 1s are 15k shields, and your PG is a 5k shield, and then this is a 25, and then both your crits are 20s. I feel bad for anyone that has to try to break through this, because now it's just a matter of how many cards you can force out of their hand instead of how much power you can output unless you're Dimension Police. So yeah, and then let's look at the aggressive side. This, hit like a train. 2 Juggernaut Maximus in front row with this thing, 28k columns on both of them. And he also counts himself, by the way. So if you rode this during your turn, another plus 5. Cool, so already that's a good ability. Already. If he had an ability that was like Counterblast 1, call 2 rear guards from deck when he swung, yeah, okay, he would still be a pretty good card. No, they decided to let's make him better than that. Instead of giving him the ability to call stuff, let's give him something that, granted, requires calling, but does something stupid in return. Auto Van, once per turn. At the start of the battle, it attacked. If you placed 4 more rear guards this turn, Soul Blast 3, choose columns, and stand all units in it. So I think that's one of the first cards I've ever seen that just says start battle. But yeah, if you call 4 more rear guards. Funny story, when I first used this, I didn't remember that it actually required 4 rear guards to be called. Thankfully, I had called just enough. But yeah, I wouldn't have remembered that otherwise. So anyways, easy Soul Blast 3, because we all know what this deck is capable of. So I don't need to explain how you can Soul Blast 3 in this deck. Choose one of your columns, stand all the units in it. It can be this column, by the way, the one with this unit in it. And this unit was stood by this effect until end of turn. It loses a drive, and at the end of the turn, shove all your rear guards to bottom. Okay, downside, you're fucking over your entire board. Upside, you're clearing up rear guard circles for future calling to open rear guard circles from certain skills. I mean, none of our deck has it, but other Spike Brother cards have it. I think it's Davey that has the ability to call it to an open rear guard circle. And not to mention that you're preventing stuff from Link Joker, which had became prominent for a while for locking their shit. So, in case Link Joker becomes prominent again with Glendio's coming around, Juggernaut Maximum just says a fuck you to it. So, yeah, stand himself. Granted, he only gets Twin Drive for that entire turn. He doesn't get the first Twin Drive and then get an extra drive check from the restand. No, he loses the drive before he swings, or before you do the drive check. So unfortunately, you only get 2 drives the whole turn, but that doesn't matter when you get fucking 6 attacks, because if you do what I did, you would have a Juggernaut Maximum in your top left, it wasn't a Skydiver, it was a Bracky in the top right, 2 Reckless Express behind the Bracky, a Wonder Boy behind the Maximum, a Fullback behind the Vanguard, and then the Vanguard being this thing. That's 6 attacks. That is 6 attacks. And all of them are swinging, and I had Force 1 on the Van. All of them are swinging for at least 10k drops. And you can do this half while they're at grade 2. So you can do that all and make them drop 15 for each of them. Because that's what I did. This is stupid. This card is broken. It's so dumb, and I'm waiting to see how Bushy decides that they're gonna one-up this next time, because this is really fucking good. 4 of Juggernaut Maximum, because let's just abuse numbers and rear guards and just make it so that the opponent can't stop us. And then we have our Force Gifts, Force 1 and Force 2. Don't pick this one. Just don't. Yeah, you get numbers, you can, but remember the Vanguard's not hitting the numbers, because he only at most will get plus 5, so just shove Force 1 on Van. Everyone else will hit numbers, and they will be able you don't need crit. They're gonna have to take early stuff. Just do Force 1. So anyways, the gifts, they can be both placed on Van or rear. They can be placed on the same circle multiple times, like Force 1 can stack, Force 2 cannot. So Force 1, the unit on the circle gets plus 10 during your turn, and remember, you can place it on multiple times, and it will stack. So if you have 1 on a circle, gets plus 10, you have 3 on a circle, plus 30, 4 on a circle, plus 40. And by the way, like my story said earlier, because of how many times I beat them on my first grade 3 turn, I only needed 1 Force 1 gift to do all of this. Just saying, just so that lingers in your guys' mind to make sure that you understand the BS that this deck is capable of. And then Force 2 can't stack. You can still put on the same circle multiple times, but I question you for it. You know, on it, the original critical becomes 2. That's why it can't stack. It says the original critical becomes 2. If it said the critical gets +1, then it would be able to stack. Unless it said the original critical gets +1, then it still wouldn't be able to stack. But yeah, basically makes it so that you can deal more damage quicker. This one just makes so you can force out numbers. I don't think there's ever a reason to pick Force 2 in this deck. Like, this deck specifically, not the clan itself, because I can see other decks picking Force 2. But Force 1 for this one in particular, just do it. Your rear guards are hitting for like 15k drops on their own, or at least 10k drops without this second ability, without the first ability going off. And the Vanguard doesn't give power, and you don't really need Force 2, because you can just make them go up in high damage so quickly in this deck. So just pick Force 1, shove it on Vanguard for the first 2, and then just give it to the rear guards, and then just fuck them over. They can't stop you. They literally can't. You get 6 attacks, all of them are at least 15k drops. Just pick Force 1. They'll hate you for it, but you'll win. And then we have our quick show, which is when one of your attacks equals 5k for the battle. So I said earlier that outside of one card, you can basically use it for free. And yep, the one card is straight up the PG. So you just got a free 5k shield. You just got a free 5k shield. So yeah, just quick show, just a free 5. And that's it for the deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is dumb. This is so dumb. Like, literally every normal unit in this deck, except for Gloria, can send stuff to Soul. Oh, sorry, except for Reckless Express and Gloria can send stuff to Soul, which means you have constant Soul fodder for this thing over here. Everything on your deck basically hits like a train, and you can get 6 attacks while the opponent is at grade 2 just by playing Spike Brothers. This is dumb. It's really good. I feel like this is going to be a little bit expensive. That's all for this deck. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow the Twitch, and look forward to the fight video of this, because if it is anything like my practice games described, it's going to be such a one-sided match, but it's going to look so fucking cool while it happens. So, I'll see you all in the next one. Don't forget to stand up your vanguards.